The lights have turned on tonight for race 2 of the Winston Cup playoffs as we head to Richmond International Raceway for the running of the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. Last week at Darlington was a dominating affair, with Dylan Murray winning by the largest margin of victory this year, 27 full seconds over second place Kevin Harvick. Dylan Murray has advanced to the round of 12 with his win at Darlington. This was a sight back in the spring race here at Richmond in the Pontiac Excitement 400 that Dale Earnhardt Jr. won his race for his first win of the year under caution after Dylan Murray dominated most of the event. Speaking of Earnhardt Jr., he starts 21st. Last week's winner, Dylan Murray, starts on the pole. Let's go trackside.
MRN welcomes you to Richmond, Virginia for tonight's race, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. What's in store for us on this track, Barney?
This is a fast track, even though it's less than a mile. Richmond's smooth surface gives the drivers plenty of room to maneuver and make clean passes, but you'll still see a fair share of bumping going on out there.
The 64 car has covered the spectrum in the last two races, going from a back-of-the-pack finish to a win last week.
Yeah, that team is definitely on an upswing. Maybe their momentum can carry them through to another win.
The 4 car hasn't made much of a move in the points so far.
Yeah, those guys have been working so hard this year. It's a shame it doesn't really show in points. Just seems they can't keep that car out of trouble on race day. Maybe their luck will change today.
Michael Waltrip's career finally started to take off after joining DEI in 2001.
You always knew he had the ability. Now he finally has the ride to show it. I expect we'll see even more of him in the future. Well, let's see how they'll line up for the start.
Jeff Gordon, the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, will be starting from the number 2 spot. Starting in row 2 will be the Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford and the 17 car. In row 3 are the Home Depot Chevrolet and the 6 car. In row 4 are the Lowe Chevrolet and the Autel Dodge. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots are the M&M's Ford and the Sterling Marlin Dodge. The 6th row has the Interstate Battery Chevrolet and the 99 car. In row 7 are the Stacker 2 Dodge and the Dodge Dealers UAW Dodge. Starting the race from row 8 are the Team Rusty Dodge and the Kodak Max Film Pontiac. And in row 9 are the Singular Wireless Chevrolet and the Dodge Dealers UAW Dodge. Starting in row 10 will be the Hannelin Dodge and the Bam Racing Dodge. In row 11 are the Dale Jr. Chevrolet and the Motorcraft Ford. In row 12 are the Tide Pontiac and the Pennzoil Chevrolet. Row 13 finds the Granger Ford and the 57 car. The 14th row has the U.S. Army Pontiac and the Target Dodge. In row 15 are the UAW Delphi Chevrolet and the Georgia Pacific Dodge. Starting the race in row 16 are the 2 car and the America Online Chevrolet. Row 17 has the GM Goodrich Chevrolet and the Hooters Ford. Starting in row 18 will be the Zero car and the UPS Ford. In row 19 are the Caterpillar Dodge and the Autobahn Ford. In row 20 are the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet and the Valvoline Pontiac. Back in row 21, we have the Kellogg Chevrolet and the Cheerios Dodge. And rounding out the field is the 46 car.
All right, we got 100 laps to make up tonight's race in the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. 3/4 mile long action track, a lot of green flag racing in the spring. However, we're in the playoffs, so the intensity ramps up. Which of the 16 will join Dylan Murway in the round of 12? You're about to find out in 100 laps. Pace car is off. Dylan Murway and Jeff Gordon bring them down. We are racing at Richmond. Dylan Murway already got a lot of speed under that 64 car. Pulling away from the 97 to Kurt Busch going into turn 3. Out of turn 2, looks like Tony Stewart is on the inside lane, bringing Jimmy Johnson with him. Man, Dylan Murway is a fast race car under him today. He is all but checked out. Pulling away bit by bit from Kurt Busch and Jimmy Johnson. Tony Stewart is currently the closest guy to him. Gordon has fallen to 5th after starting on the outside lane. Mark Martin did let him in. As Dylan Murway continues to pull away from Stewart. We did forget to mention Kevin Harvick and Michael Waltrip are the 2 lowest drivers that qualified tonight in the chase. They're chase contenders. Waltrip started 39th, and Kevin Harvick ended up starting 33rd. Last time Harvick started 33rd, he did net a top 5 run due to pit strategy. And I think very similar run might be seen tonight from him. Jeff Gordon has got by Kurt Busch for 4th. Out front, Dylan Murway, Tony Stewart, and Jimmy Johnson have made up the top 3. Bobby Labonte has even gotten by Kurt Busch as Labonte kicked Kurt Busch wide. Mark Martin has even fallen out of the top 5 as well. Jimmy Johnson is in 4th. Kurt Busch and Mark Martin have really moved backwards quite a bit since that initial start. Kurt Busch started tonight 3rd, moved to the outside lane on lap 1, and he has dropped like a rock. Never mind being knocked out of the way by Bobby Labonte early on, but still, Kurt Busch is outside the top 5, so the top 5 as of right now in the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400 in the probably first 10 laps of this race. Are all Chevrolets. Dylan Murway, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, and Jimmy Johnson. Jeff Gordon was able to get by his teammate cleanly. Bobby Labonte has also done the same. If there's one thing you got to give Tony credit for, is he so far in this opening 10-lap run, he has not lost sight of that 64, which is impressive. And even in that initial stretch, Bobby Labonte was not afraid to mix things up and use his bumper. His last win in real life was all the way back at Atlanta in 2003. But in this NASCAR PS2 Custom Series season series, his last win was the spring Richmond race on Thunder 2003. He got in by just a small 2 points at Daytona. Just barely got into the chase by passing Sterling Marlin due to Marlin having fuel issues late, among with guys like Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon. That crash really jumbled things up, arguably. But so far, it seems like Labonte's got a fast man under him. Dylan Murray has led the opening 15 laps tonight in the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. He is slowly starting to pull away from Stewart, heading into turn 1. You're on board with 64, Dylan Murray. You see what Dylan's doing. He's immediately aiming for that bottom line in turn 3 some laps, but other laps he's just maybe half a groove up. The nice thing about Richmond, especially with how cold it is tonight because of all the rain we've had the past couple days, some of the rain earlier today. Luckily it stopped before 5 o'clock so we can get the track drivers out to this track. Luckily. But with all how cold it is and how multiple grooves are opened up, you can almost seems like you can see Dylan Murray searching, but if you look in the mirror, Tony Stewart is just hugging that white line. Almost seems like Stewart's car is more designed to run down there, but Dylan Murray is starting to move a groove up. He's a lot faster than Tony by doing this, but not by much. He was able to pull away from him here. And then back out towards the wall and turn at the line. He actually able to gap him by probably 0.3 of a second by doing this. And then he moves back towards the upper groove in turn 1. And he's pulling away, too, by doing this. And then immediately going back to his line, being probably half a groove up. But if you watch up ahead and take a look at Stanton Barrett's line, he's also doing the same thing by running the middle because his car is faster there. Question is, how fast is it really? Because Dylan Murray is closing up on that 60 machine pretty fast. He's going to get him here at the line. Put him 1 lap down for the first car getting lapped tonight. And Jack Sprague is the next one. Michael Waltrip and Kevin Harvick, remember both of them started outside the top 30. They have made some headway tonight so far in the first quarter of this race. In fact, with the way Dylan's running, he's actually pulled away, and granted, the lap cars have also done a lot to help Dylan gap Tony Stewart. But with how fast he's going, just by searching and running his different grooves each lap, it seems like he's actually getting faster. See, Dylan, he comes in the middle in turn 1 and is able to get under a lap car and just almost pass them seamlessly. Just like he does with Fittipaldi, moves to top line of the racetrack. And is on the outside of Biffle for second. Crosses under him. And we'll put Biffle a lap down. And do the same to Ashton Lewis because he had to duck in line on the bottom of the racetrack there. But other than that, he hasn't lost a lot of time. And you saw Dylan kind of clip the apron there. Going into 3, but that didn't seem to be any cause of concern from the Merway camp. As we've completed 28 laps tonight, we are working lap 29. Closing up on the 49 of Schrader. Ooh. Little chippy up ahead. 3 wide going into 3 for turn 1. Schrader didn't really give Dylan a whole lot of room. Yet at the same time, Labonte kind of brake checked, hit the brakes a little earlier than Schrader wanted. I bet. So that they fly by them without any further incident, as the top 5 has remained virtually unchanged, as within 30 laps, Dylan Merway has amassed a 5-second lead over the 20 of Stewart. Almost 6 now. It's under Green, puts him a lap down. There's a couple more here. Steve Park in the 30. Ward Burton in the 22. Both of them go a lap down. And they see Waltrip already. He's made a little headway up ahead, not a whole lot. In fact, pit next time, dude. You got to pit next time. We're screaming for fuel, and you're about to wear down your right front. And up ahead, Dale Jarrett, not in the chase. Ricky Rudd, Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick are. Waltrip falls a lap down. And here comes Dylan Merway to pit road for the first time tonight. First green flag stop of the night. Should see more drivers heading his way. And it's another pit crew mistake for the 64 Munch. The Jackman kind of tripped there running out to the other side of the car. Disappointing to see there. Kurt Busch is on the track. There was a car that entered pit lane behind them. And then you'll see Dylan Merway pass all of them here. And he is 1 lap down. Ends up in the little over the 19th position here. It's going to fall in behind Nemechek. Nemechek is a lap down, or on the lead lap. Merway is not. Looks like Robbie Gordon up ahead entering pit lane. Dylan Merway teaming up with Nemechek. He's probably going to ride behind him. Merway has unlapped himself. By the way, with the leader being on pit road, Rudd almost came right in front of Nemechek, which forced Dylan to get out of the gas. The leader has entered pit road. Burton forcing it 3 wide. And then Craven, whoa, what a dive bomb by Ricky Craven, my goodness. Jimmy Johnson is the last car on this pit cycle to not pit. Unclear if he did. Kind of hard to tell. But so far, Dylan Murray went from 19th to 2nd because of this. And I guess he's just trying to bide his time. And he's got 8 seconds because Jimmy has to eventually pit. Otherwise, he's going to be out of gas, and that'll be a big blow to him in points. Nobody gets under Craven, Nemechek. And it looks like Jimmy Johnson will head to pit road. And that will give the lead to Dylan Murray. Oh, sorry, it was Kenny Schrader that was trying pit strategy for a couple laps. I misspoke. It was Jimmy Johnson. He pitted a couple laps before. So with all this and how everything is shaken out, Dylan Murray has a 7-second lead over Tony Stewart as they head down the backstretch. For the first time tonight, or 43rd, I should say, Dylan Murray is led in terms of green flag racing and on the racetrack outside of green flag stops. That white 64 has been out front for every single lap. Very similar performance to what we're seeing at Darlington from the 64 bunch. Granted, if a driver that has already won wins twice, it won't really do anything. Just add some extra bonus points. Dude, you need to get rid of Waltrip, buddy. He's holding us up. Yeah, 10-4. He's a great guy in commercials, but a terrible guy. But a guy that just can't seem to get out of his own way. We see Dale Jarrett and Ricky Rudd up ahead. Jarrett is not a chase contender. Ricky Rudd is, because of his 2 wins earlier this season. Tony Stewart has eaten into Dylan Murray's 7-second lead already. And it looks like Murray and Waltrip, that duo here, haven't really done anything yet. So far, the top 5, Dylan Murray, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Sterling Marlin, the top 5. Here comes Murray under Waltrip to put him 1 lap down. See, Murray currently is the fastest car on the racetrack. Almost got a 7-second lead over Tony Stewart. He has led at the halfway lap in this race. Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd up ahead. Next 2 cars up ahead. Got Kurt Busch. All Busch and Rudd are both chase contenders. Jarrett is not. Jarrett at this point is probably preparing for 2004. And then you got Matt Kenseth is another chase contender. Both the Roush cars started up front tonight with Jeff Gordon and Dylan Murray and Tony Stewart. All three of the 4. But very disappointing to see them running as far back as they are right now. Kenseth goes a lap down. Brett Bodine goes a lap down. And Dylan actually gains a full second on Tony Stewart. See Jamie McMurray up ahead, the spring winner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He won the first event earlier this season under caution. Both him and Murray did battle for the win a lot in that race. Murray closes up to Junior's bumper. Down to turn 2, down the backstretch. Going to try to get by Junior, put him a lap down. Bernie Sadler and Ashton Lewis up ahead as well. Dylan Roy has been credited with leading the most laps. I haven't seen a lot of Mark Martin tonight. Dylan Roy getting into Ashton Lewis at the start-finish line. No further contact. Dylan Roy is he's tearing every possible line in the book. He's gone high, he's gone in the middle, he's gone low, he's gone on the apron. He's lapped multiple chase contenders. And so far at this point, all he sees is just open track. Well, except till he gets to the 31 of Robbie Gordon and the 4-car Mike Skinner. Both Skinner, Robbie Gordon and Mike Skinner will probably move out of his way. Can't really say the same for Mark Martin. He's another one that started inside the top 5 tonight and is already on verge of falling a lap down. Out of 4. Dylan Murray's just jacked up Mark Martin. Eventually, when does a rivalry turn into borderline harassment? Because Dylan Murray basically has just chased Mark Martin up the racetrack and free just to get by him. "64 laps complete in the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. The highest driver that's not a Chevy, Sterling Marlin in the 40 Dodge, having a nice solid run tonight, even though he missed out on the chase by 2 points. Running in 5th as we've begun green flag stops for the second time tonight. Matt Kenseth, Kurt Busch have just came out of pit road. So I'd expect some cars heading to pit, the leaders heading to pit road right about here. Murray has moved up. Kenseth is going to get his lap back. Kenseth's to the high side. Murray down low. Coming out of 2. Kenseth gets the wall. No contact there. Contact with Schrader. And Kenseth and Schrader get put a lap down. A little bit of contact there. Dillon's still sitting on a 13-second lead. And Murray will head to pit road. Much better stop from the 64 bunch. Bill Murray ends up onto the racetrack behind Jimmy Johnson. Stewart to pit road. So this means Gordon will take over the lead, battling with the 38 of Elliott Sadler. So we have 14 cars on the lead lap. Dillon has basically unlapped himself just by following Elliott Sadler and passing the leader, Jeff Gordon. And Labonte up the track. Labonte gets into the wall. Gets by Petty. There's the 22 Ward Burton up ahead for the 7th position. Labonte's lap down. You got Newman up there in 6th. He's another driver having a pretty decent run tonight. Currently, he's obviously scored a lap down because the way this race has gone, basically 74 laps, caution-free, very similar to how Darlington played out. Just running long stretches of racing caution-free, free racing. Long stretches of green flag laps without an incident. Murray is going to get by Elliott to probably take the lead. Mayfield almost comes in front of Dillon. That was almost bad. As Murray takes the lead, does he put Marlin the lap down? Look at all the lap cars up ahead. Gordon fighting to keep himself on the lead lap. Right, we haven't had a couple head Elliott or Schrader come to pit road yet. We could have them coming to pit road now. Ward Burton just came off pit road. Kyle Petty's off pit road now. So we're just waiting for Bill Elliott and Ken Schrader to pit. Murray gets by Green. We got Ward Burton up ahead as well. So we only have 4 cars on the lead lap right now, and it looks like half of them are in the leader's view. That should tell you how much of a torrid pace Dylan Murway has put down. Well, it's going to be none of them here if Dylan can get to Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. 20 laps left in the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. We have a Chevrolet top 3. A bit of contact with Brett Bonine. He will put Bonine a lap down. You got Fittipaldi down there. Jeff Gordon being incredibly frustrated with the 01. This is what he had to say a few moments ago. Tell that 01 if he doesn't stop mirror driving me, he's going in the wall. I don't care. I've given him several warnings. I've given him a couple shots. If he doesn't get out of the way, I'm dumping him. And as soon as he says that, Jeff Gordon has just fallen a lap down. If that doesn't tell you how fast Dylan's driving right now, I don't know what does. Where he gets by Ashton Lewis. Benson with a block. He's holding him down there. After Tony Stewart here, it's virtually nothing but clean track. So as we take a look at the 4 Lowe's Chase contenders here in a few moments. Shout out to Sterling Marlin. He's running a very strong race tonight in 4th after missing the chase by 2 points at Daytona. Matt Kenseth obviously rounding out the top 10. Robbie Gordon with a good run tonight. Shit. Jamie McMurray with a solid run. Waltrip ends up 18th. Jeff Burton 20th. Bill Elliott with a tough night. Same with Ward Burton. My goodness. Surprisingly, no drivers have fallen out of tonight's race. With the way this race has gone, no drivers have fallen out of this race. I'm surprised engines haven't started dropping like flies. So anyway, the lowest of the 16 chase contenders, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So as of right now, both the Burtons are outside the round of 12. Waltrip is also there. It's kind of a toss-up between Kevin Harvick because no chasers have really had issues tonight compared to Rusty having an engine issue last week at Darlington. That kind of put him in a hole. He's running much better inside the top 15. So this closes him into a battle with a guy like Waltrip and a guy like Harvick. Harvick is in the chase as of right now. If the round were to end here, but Waltrip and Wallace are not. So Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, both the Burtons are currently outside of the round of 12 if the round of 12 started next week at Bristol, which it obviously doesn't. $13 laps to go in what has been probably the biggest statement run you've seen by a man, as Dylan Murway has just lapped the entire field. So the top 5, Dylan Murway, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, and Ryan Newman. We've had some physical moments tonight, but other than that, we really haven't seen much in terms of cautions and cars getting knocked out of the way. So keep in mind, we are at 10 to go. Everybody else, pretty much everybody, if the yellow were to come out the next couple laps or so, would basically restart behind the leader. Murway puts Nemechek a second lap down. Same with Burton. If he gets to McMurray, he'll do the same to him. And the 29 to Kevin Harvick. Definitely a far cry from him finishing second. Michael Waltrip up ahead, battling with Jeff Green. For position. Waltrip goes another lap down. Same with the one car, Jeff Green. Here very shortly. Jarrett gets the wall off of 4. By the way, Ryan Newman has fallen 2 laps down. Other than that, it's virtually clear track in front of Dylan Murway. Nothing but smooth sailing for that 64 bunch as he makes his way out of turn 4. 5 laps to go in the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. This definitely has to be a first. Yeah, this definitely is a first. Dylan Murway he won by 27 seconds, which is the largest recorded margin of victory this season. And if he keeps this up, Dylan Murway will win tonight by a lap. And by some cars, by multiple laps. Some drivers multiple laps down. Three laps to go. Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace up ahead. And several other cars there with him. Cars up ahead trying to not go multiple laps down. All of which are chase contenders. To the line, 2 to go. Dylan Murway has laid down some blistering laps tonight. And dominating wins as he gets by Kurt Busch. Put him a lap down. And now turn 4, we will see the white flag in hand. One more time around Richmond International Raceway. And down the backstretch, Dylan Murway has done something nobody since Jeff Bodine has done. Win a race by a full lap. Until tonight, Dylan Murway wins the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400 with plenty of fuel to boot. And he's doing a Polish victory lap as well with a blown motor, no less. With virtually probably a quarter of a tank of gas. He's enjoying life. Smacks into the wall in the process. And it looks like I thought I saw somebody going into the window. Looks like might have been There was a discussion on the cool down lap, I believe. We'll get to that here in a bit. It was between what looks like Jimmy Johnson and somebody else, probably a lap car. And they're getting to talking. Johnson has gotten out of the car to try to reason with this driver. And I think Dylan Murrow is pretty much out of it at this point.
Yellow flag didn't fly at all in this one.
You know, that's pretty amazing. It says a lot about the quality and true talent of these NASCAR Winston Cup drivers.
The 64 car really pulled away from the field in the closing laps.
I'm sure these race fans out here would have liked to see a closer finish, but I guarantee you he didn't want to see anyone in his mirror on that last lap.
The 64 car got along well on the track with Michael Waltrip.
Normally these guys are so competitive that a driver has to work his tail off for every spot. But when you have some friends out there, you can occasionally catch a break. That can help a bunch because every position and every tenth of a second counts.
So the 8th win of the year is just giving Dylan Murrow some more bonus points heading into the round at 12. And what was a very fast race here at Richmond. Believe it or not a lot of angry drivers other than Jimmy Johnson talking it looked like, might have been probably LePage. Those two got a little chippy in the closing laps. We'll get some more on that there. So Dylan Murrow has won another caution-free race, the Chevrolet Rock and Roll 400. Tony Stewart is second. Jeff Gordon finishes third. Sterling Marlin finishes fourth. Ryan Newman fifth. Jimmy Johnson sixth. Mark Martin seventh. Bobby Labonte eighth. Robbie Gordon ninth. And Matt Kenseth rounds out the top 10. So we've had 11 lead changes among 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Among 7 drivers. Time of race, a very fast 36 minutes. Average speed, 123 miles an hour. Margin to victory, 1 lap. Great run for Ricky Rudd tonight. Earnhardt Jr. Rusty Wallace improves a little bit heading into the round at 12. So this brings him 2 points ahead of Harvick. So it is now Harvick is on the outside looking in with Michael Waltrip, Jeff Burton, and Ward Burton. Jeff Green with a solid run. Michael Waltrip, very impressive run for him. Going from 16th to 29th. As Kevin Harvick unfortunately came up to 19th at the end of the night. And Bill Elliott runs out the top 20. Looking through the rest of the field, Elliott Sadler ends up 24th, unfortunately. Ward Burton made very little out of nothing. And looking through the rest of the lineup, a lot of drivers 2 laps down. Anybody from Schrader on back, 3 laps behind. So all drivers, believe it or not, finished this race. which is honestly pretty impressive with the way Dylan Murray was just booking them. Picking them up, putting them down, picking them up, putting them down, and putting them down into the basements. It is Elimination Friday next week at the Bristol Motor Speedway for the running of the Sharpie 500. Last member in the spring race, we had that late caution when Greg Biffle crashed Dylan Murray, which was pretty deliberate, and gave the win to Matt Kenseth, which that caution basically turned that race on its head. So we go to the awards. Dylan Murray won the pole, led the most laps. Michael Waltrip passed the most cars. Dylan had the best lap, was the best rookie, and Bobby Labonte made the most exciting pass of the night. Rookie of the year, I'm not going to even look at that. I'm going to look at that. Dylan Murray, wow, good. With Dylan Murray going back-to-back to start the round of 16 and start the playoffs, that has basically allowed Chevrolet to open up their lead in the manufacturer championship to almost 60 points. And Dylan Murray and Jeff Gordon still are the kings of the EA Sports Lap Championship. So, yeah. Next Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, we head to Thunder Valley for race 29 to 36, Elimination Friday, for the running of the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.